What happens if you don't water your plants for 10 days? Actually, can you take 10 days vacation without killing your plants? That's exactly the topic of today. Hi, my name is Remy and I love Nepenthes. I'm just back from a 10 days vacation away from home, so nobody watered the plants and they were just sitting there. And we are middle of August, so that's the warmest month. So I would like to show you how I prep my plants, how they were after these 10 days without any drop of water, and then how I managed to recover what needed to recover. But first, let me show you how I prep the plants before my vacation. So here is the plants right now before the vacation. At the left is the regular carnivorous plants and the seedlings. Here is the small plants, medium to big, and really adult vining one. And we even have a flower here. And we will have a surprise later this year, hopefully. So for now, all the plants are healthy. From here, obviously, you don't see a lot, but let's have a better look. So for the Helianthera and Pinguicula, the tray is almost dry. Usually totally full of water, and then I let it dry totally. Then I put some water again. On the seedling, you can tell under it's barely humid. There is a little bit of water, but not a lot. You don't want your seedlings to stay too wet. Let's put it back together. Okay. So all the trays will have this kind of egg crate, and under that there is water. So it prevents the pot to sit in water, but it still provides a lot of moisture around these trays. The only problem is if the sun directly reaches this water, you're gonna grow algae. But if you cover that with pots, the algae will just die because of the lack of light. For example, on big pots, you see there is absolutely no algae because there is almost no light reaching the water. So now we will overwater a little bit. I will be heavy on watering just because that's the last watering before the next 10 days. So for the seedlings, I will spray them, more watering them actually, not really a spray. I will put some water on each box, so I make sure all the sphagnum is moist. Let's speed up a little bit because that takes time and we have a lot to cover. When there is some top light sphagnum, I tend to really water more. I want the sphagnum to stay the more humid possible for the longest possible because it will help to prevent the substrate inside the pot to really evaporate. And for small seedlings, it's the same. You really want to have a lot of water because the smaller the pot is, the faster it will dry. So on big pots, it's easy, but on tiny one like that, you really want to be generous. They won't sit into water, but you still want to be really, really moist. Look at this beautiful color. The sphagnum moss, last sphagnum moss is really nice. I want you to pay attention of the color of the light sphagnum. It's really beautiful green, really healthy and fluffy. This is the perfect sphagnum that you want. But in 10 days, it will look really, really different. So for now, you want to load it with as much water as you can. Fun fact, depending on the pot, the sphagnum won't grow the same way. I have pots that should be doing great and they are not, and I have other pots that really have a lot of sphagnum. It depends of the airflow, the light, and the humidity. So each really pot will be different. And try to water the sphagnum even under the leaves, because that's the first place that may dry. As you see, it's more watering than really spraying. That's a lot of water. I'm really loading the pots so the water go through the substrate and reach the tray. So watering from the top is really what you want here. So usually I go the extra mile and put some water inside the pitchers. I'm not fully sure it's useful, but the more water there is, the better I feel. And after that comes the real watering. I will water really heavily because my substrate is almost 50-50 sphagnum moss perlite, so it's really well drained. So I'm not too much afraid of really having a root rot. And I will water until the water reach the top of the egg crate at the bottom of the tray. One last thing, because I use grow lights also on the windowsill, I will cover the windows to have more shade. Because again, the evaporation will be high during these 10 days in August. So I really want to negate a little bit to manage how hot will be the windowsill. And here we are, everything is ready, properly watered, in the shade, kind of. So now let's see how it survived during these 10 days. I'm back from 10 days in an island. Okay, it's Montreal Island, but still, it's been 10 days since the plants received the last drop of water, and we'll see how they handle that. So everything looks fine. Let's have a look closer. Let's start by the seedlings. Seedlings looks good. It dried a little bit, but not too much. Here, the sphagnum looks really dry, like it's not even moist. So I will need to water it. What else? Oh yeah, all the water that I put is gone. So it helps to grow, to build this humidity for a few days. Those one are the one that dried the most, I guess. Let me touch that. Oh, bone dry. Okay. And even beside the sphagnum is really, oh, like a carpet. See? It's one piece. Really like a dry sponge. You can tell by the color it's not happy. But some sphagnum stayed pretty moist. Very impressive. Not all. Kind of a light color on this one. This one is very impressive. Totally fluffy. The pots closest to the windows, they dried the most, and the one away stayed pretty decent. This one is not especially great, but let's have a look. Some pitchers open, like this one, and some leaves start to grow a lot and cover the rest of the team. So I will need to find a way to move it. That's always the maintenance that you will have after vacation, because they will grow without you. Oh, look at this Veitchii. So really, the plants are totally fine. Nothing happened. They are not even thirsty. Pitcher open. Even flowers open. So this orchid just popped open. That's fantastic. The leaves were not even open before I left. The ping absolutely don't care if there is less water. Mexican ping are really a great plant for windowsill. So now let's go to the basement. The trays, I took the dome out, but they dried. I mean, there is no longer any water here. Oh, look at that. It grew. I will do a video about that later. But everything is healthy here. Even the seedlings, they are doing just fine. I will repot them because the pots start to be really tiny. Here is the same. It dried, I mean, there is no longer any water. So now let's see the hospital tank. So that's the cuttings, the sphagnum dried, so that's not great for the cuttings. So those plants are recovering, they are healthy. Again, they had the thrips damage. all these plants literally had some problem, except the basil from Brixella. Those are the two cuttings in water, so they are great. Then we have the cuttings that were on moist sphagnum. One pot dried, but the others looks decent. And the one in the bag, I mean, it cannot dry, so that's perfect. So here is the temperature and humidity during my vacation. That's stable, I mean, every day it was almost the same, so let's focus on the stats now. So 78 degrees Fahrenheit at the hottest of the day and 63 because of the AC during the night. But on average, it's 70 Fahrenheit. And average is 60-64% humidity. So now let's see how the sphagnum reacts after 5 days of regular watering. So I've been watering every day a few times a day for the last 5 days, and you can tell that there is part of the sphagnum that is becoming green again. Same thing for the pot just beside. So it will take time, maybe a few weeks, but it will recover. Even the one that was really dry like a sponge, it's flexible again. So it's getting better. So as you saw, the plants were mostly fine. Only really the sphagnum take a hit. Some pots, not all. Some pots, the light sphagnum really dried and now it's trying to recover again, but it will take time. It will probably take around maybe a week or two just to fully recover. The parts that totally dried and died will disappear, being covered by healthy new growth. So that's really the only thing that you have to be concerned about. The plants are doing just fine. Even the tiny pots that were bone dry after a week, they can handle it. If the humidity around is good enough, they will handle this lack of water. If you want to learn more about this water tray method, here is a video for you. If you like the video, please like, consider subscribing, and until next time, happy growing.